They said a man like me could never wear the eagle of Rome. I was born in Africa, under a sun that burned hotter than any forge. A blacksmith's son, a nobody. But I rose through blood and fire, until Rome itself feared the man it had created. This is my story. I was not born in Rome. I was born where the sand meets the sea, in Leptis Magna, North Africa, a place Rome claimed as its own, but never fully accepted. To them, I was a provincial. To my people, I was a fool chasing a foreign dream. But I had one belief that burned like the desert sun, that honor does not belong to blood, but to deeds. I joined the Roman army at 17. I spoke broken Latin. My armor was secondhand, and my name, Marcus Flavius Adebayo, made the recruiters laugh, an African name with a Roman echo. But I learned quickly. In Rome's legions, the whip teaches faster than the tongue. We fought raiders in the sands, built fortresses stone by stone, and buried comrades beneath banners that bore eagles they would never see again. During a campaign against desert tribes, our centurion fell from his horse, an arrow through his chest. Men panicked. I did not. I lifted his shield, led the countercharge, and drove the enemy into the dunes. When it was over, the blood on my sword had dried black under the sun. The centurion lived, and for the first time a Roman officer called me brother. Years passed. Promotions came slowly, but they came, and one day I was sent far from home, to a land Rome called Hispania. The hills were green, the rivers cold. The people spoke in strange tongues and hated our banners, but I saw something familiar there. The fire of people who would rather die than kneel, and perhaps I admired them for it. As I rose through the ranks, I learned Rome's greatest enemy wasn't rebellion, it was greed. The governors grew rich while soldiers starved. They bled Hispania dry and called it civilization. One night a villager approached me, offering wine, begging mercy for his son accused of theft. When I refused the governor's order to execute him, I became an enemy in my own camp. Then came the uprising. Thousands of tribesmen stormed the fortresses of the north. The governor fled, officers fell, and in the silence that followed, all eyes turned to me. I had no orders, no reinforcements. Only one choice, to lead or to let Rome burn. I led the legions through forests and rivers, fought side by side with men who once spat at my name, and when the final battle came, they called me commander. Rome sent medals, gold, praise, but none of it mattered, because as I stood on the walls of Tarraco, watching the sunset bleed over the hills, I realized something. I had become the very thing I once hated, a man serving an empire built on chains. When Rome made me commander of the legions in Hispania, they said I was proof of the empire's greatness. A man from Africa, born in the dust of Leptis Magna, now ruled Rome's armies in the west. But they did not give me that power to honor me. They gave it to test me, because in Rome's eyes, loyalty was worth more than truth, and soon they would demand mine. Months after the rebellion was crushed, Hispania fell silent. No more smoke on the horizon, no more arrows in the night, only the sound of hammer and prayer. But peace in Rome's provinces was never real peace. The governor I replaced had been executed not for corruption, but for losing gold shipments meant for Rome's treasury. And that gold was now missing. One morning an imperial messenger arrived. He bore the seal of Emperor Commodus himself. I remember his words clearly. Commander Adebayo, the emperor thanks you for your service, but Hispania bleeds gold, and Rome cannot find where it flows. You will recover it or share the governor's fate. I bowed, but inside something broke. I had fought for Rome, bled for Rome, and still I was nothing more than a tool in their hand. To find the missing gold, my officers began raiding villages, burning, torturing, killing. They said it was justice, but I saw my men turning into beasts, and when I ordered them to stop, one of my tribunes, Gaius Vero, whispered to them, "The African has gone soft. Rome needs strength, not mercy." That night, they killed the village elder I had sworn to protect, and hung his body outside my tent. I buried him with my own hands. No legion banner, no prayers to Jupiter, just silence. And in that silence, I made my choice. If Rome wanted gold, they could melt it from the chains they put on others. I would no longer be their weapon, I would be their reckoning. At Tarraco, the storm came. Varro's men, 3 cohorts strong, marched to arrest me, but half my legion stood by my side. They said they followed not the Senate, not the emperor, but the man who fought beside them. When the first trumpet sounded, I drew my sword, and for the first time it was Rome I faced. Steel met steel, brother against brother. The hills ran red, and when it was over, the banners of the empire burned against the rain. They called it mutiny, They called it treason, but I called it justice. I knew Rome would send more legions. I knew they would erase my name from their records. But for a moment, a brief burning moment, I was free, and so was Hispania.